Hi guys, Howzit? Welcome trek all. Hoinan Diola to any of my Afrikaans speaking followers. Welcome back. I know it has been a bit of a while, a hot minute since we've spoken on here, and I thought that I would jump on and kind of give you guys an update with what's going on with me and what's going on with the future of this channel. Before we even get there, I just want to thank everybody who's continued support of this channel, has continued to keep this going. Start off with just a guy slicing biltong in his apartment on a Friday night, and it's turned into this big thing. And I've had ebbs and flows of followers, and always continued support from a lot of you guys. And I've made a lot of friends doing this from all around the world. Swanee, for better or worse. Sometimes we disagree politically, but I still very much value our friendship, and your advice and your wisdom is wise beyond anything that I could ever comprehend. Shane, my buddy in Parle, South and Western Cape Parle, hope you're doing all right, bro. Good to talk the other day. Pierre Visser, who I have the podcast with, that's still a thing. Check that out. We have a YouTube channel coming up, so you'll be able to see our mugs as well as hearing our voices on our podcast. 2 Cents, obviously still doing his thing, the Mr. Rogers of rugby commentators, and of course can't go without rest in peace, G-Man. You're always missed and everything. But yeah, I've met a lot of really cool people doing this, and this channel's not going anywhere. But there are some things we need to discuss, and I guess the first thing, and I know Swanee can back me up on this, and it's so certain things I like covering on here. There's certain things I don't. I tried to do the Six Nations, just wasn't really hitting. Like, wasn't really my thing. I just couldn't really get into the competition, so I stopped talking about it. The URC, it's very sporadic, and it's the realization that I had, and I've talked to a couple of my older followers about this, which is at the end of the day, I don't really like covering professional rugby. It's just not. It's not as fun. I would rather sit and talk about this Springbok all day, 24/7. I enjoy that. Those are the videos that seem to be the best hits. And especially with the URC, it's just not. It doesn't feel right when you've got teams that have like 17 imports on them. I know that's the Northern Hemisphere. That's the way they do things. I'm used to Southern Hemisphere rugby. I mean, to be fair, guys, I've been watching Super Rugby because at least it feels like it's like a regional professional competition. It's not a team that's half south of the equator, but they're playing north of the equator. If you get what I'm saying. I'd rather watch Curry Cup because at least it feels like a domestic competition. And the URC, I think it's a great league. I think it's a good thing for South African rugby, but it's not nearly as entertaining as it was when we were playing in Super Rugby. And that's just kind of the way I feel about it. And I think a lot of people would probably agree. Do I think it's better than Super Rugby? Yeah, in a lot of ways, I do, because at least it allows our boys to go north of the equator, make good coin, and they still get to come back home and play games. So I don't hate the URC. It's not nearly as exciting with the Champions League as well going on, and it seems like the people north of the equator are a little bit more keen to that than southern equator people. Yes, I live in America, but like, you guys know me. I'm a southern hemisphere rugby guy all the way, and I just like the Champions Cup just wasn't really anything to me. The Six Nations, you guys heard my statements. It really wasn't that entertaining to me. It's extremely predictable, and I think a certain team thinks that it's bigger than something else, and it's really not. It's the Six Nations is like this, guys. That's all it is, and I just don't. Those videos just don't hit very well, and I'm not really excited to talk about URC. It's just not my thing. I'm not excited to talk about it, and this channel is not going anywhere. My bread and butter on this channel has always been covering Springboks, Springbok, and as long as this flag is tattooed on my arm, as long as you see this jersey, as long as you see the flag in front of my house, the flag on the back of my car, the flag around my license plate, I will always talk about the Springboks forever. That's my team. It's my favorite team in the entire world. I'm very proud of that team. I'm proud of that emblem. I'm proud of that jersey, and I'm proud of everything that it stands for. Because for all the crap we could say negative about South Africa, the rugby team's damn fucking good. Pardon my French. But the rugby team is very, very good. The best in the world. 4 times. It's been proven. So, obviously, there's no Springbok rugby. The Six Nations just made me ache for it more and more. We do have a game coming up against Wales. You know I'm going to be all about covering that. Rosters, everything. Go live for it. It's one I'm excited. It's the thing I'm most excited for is watching Springbok rugby again. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. We've got a really exciting year ahead of us. We've got Wales. We've got Ireland, the supposed best team in the world, coming to play in South Africa, Loftus and Kings Park, Hollywood Bets, Kings Park, Durban, and then the Rugby Championship. And the sky's the limit. When we get back into that, I'm counting down the days. I'm counting down the days till we get back into international test rugby, because that's when I get really excited about covering this game. So with that being said, obviously channel's not going anywhere. As we get closer to that, obviously you'll see the videos start cranking out for that. But I'm not going to talk about the URC on here because it's just not really exciting to me. I don't mind mentioning it here and there. And, way to go. Bulls having a really big one this weekend against Leinster. I picked the Bulls to win. I picked all 4 South African sides to win because that's how it should be. And that's how it's going to be. And that's how it should be. Because the fact of the matter is that, once again, you can say all this bad shit about South Africa. Our fucking rugby program is bar none. Is bar none. It is the best in the world. Period. End of discussion. So, with that being said, I do know that for many years I did cover domestic rugby here. I gained a lot of followers out of it. I lost a lot of followers when I stopped covering it. And I had my reasons. I made my reasons very well known. I will not cover it on this channel. But I have recently, in the last couple of months, been on TikTok, and I've grown a very good following there, and met lots of younger fans, younger rugby people. Because it is for those of us that are older. I'm in my 40s, so I can say I'm older compared to that fan base, that crowd. But it's been kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, I've met a lot of young people on there. Talk about people I'm old enough to be their dads, that like young. And, it's cool to be able to talk to those young people, and like people, even like Swanee, don't mean to call you out, you're a bit older. I'll say I remember something, and then you'll be like, oh, no, go back to this. This was when it was really good. Go back to the All Blacks in the 70s. Look at those rosters. Look at what we were doing. And I'm able to do that now with a younger generation on TikTok. And through TikTok, I've had a couple of the guys on here. You guys saw Leinster. You guys saw Marcelo. Leinster's from Ireland. Marcelo is a Italian Englishman living outside of Worcester. Apparently, they're getting their team back, apparently, as well, in the Premiership. And I've just made a lot of connections. And the young people that are on there, the banter is great. It's sometimes pretty juvenile, but it's a younger people's app. And I go live on there a couple times a week, and I get some of you don't want to get on TikTok. It's just something stupid to you, et cetera, et cetera. And I get that because I kind of agree to a certain extent. But I had a South African kid. I call him a kid, but he's a young man. I had kind of reposted a couple of videos, done a couple stitches with him, and he just kind of reaches out at me out of the blue. Hey, I've got like an idea that I would like to run by you. And hey, I have a YouTube page. There's a bunch of us that are kind of the young. You'd be the oldest one, obviously, but we all like talking about rugby. And how about we make a collective where it's all of us, one page. You can get whatever rugby coverage you want, and it all comes to one spot. You know me, like I've never been about money. It's cool to make some money doing this, and that's fine. But like I just kind of looked at it as like, okay, what kind of opportunity we're looking at here? And he's like, well, I've assembled a group of guys. I'm asking you. I've been doing meetings. He's very, very professional about it. He's like, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, of course. I love talking about rugby. It's my thing. I like doing it. That's why I started doing this. So he has assembled a group. Hopefully I can get the logo up on the screen here. Yes, Casual Bias Rugby, ladies and gentlemen. This is the group. I will leave the link down in the description of the video here. And you guys go ahead and go over there, subscribe, and I would like to talk about a few of the members of the group, or actually all of us. I'll kind of just bring up each one, and if I know anything about them, I'll let you know. The first one we're going to start out is in the UK, and that's Rugby News. He is the guy I've probably had the least interaction with, but obviously the photo you see, there's him at the World Cup in France there. I've had the least bit of interaction. He does do content. A lot of these guys, we cross content with each other, and I plan on doing that more in the future. So he's the one I know the least about. Next one we have is Rose Mendham. Rose lives in England. She is, I believe that's her and her mother, obviously a massive English rugby fan. I found Rose right around the World Cup. Obviously, you don't have a lot of young women talking about rugby. There are some, but Rose is really, really cool. She's like the nicest girl, and obviously very proper as an English girl. Yeah, she is real big on English rugby. Next up, from the land of the long white cloud, Aotearoa, we've got Ella from Dunedin, and we've got Cedric from Otara. How bizarre. God, I feel like I'm old saying that because I know that's like an older people's reference. But yes, OMC, how bizarre the song. I'm going to be collabing with Cedric pretty soon over on Casual Bias, but if you want anything about rugby in New Zealand, they're the two to do it. And Cedric actually talks about a lot of other sports as well. Ella does she's like a pro already. She's got videos where she's doing an interview with players. She's like a pro at this already. But of course, they're the nicest people because they're Kiwis, and Kiwis are always super nice. Next up, we will go to Scotland, that faraway land, and this is Blissful. I'm not using his real name, but Blissful is what he goes by on social media. We have talked quite a bit off the app a little bit more on WhatsApp and whatnot. And he is in Scotland. He covers Scottish rugby, all things Scottish rugby. Plus, he covers women's rugby. So if you're into that, definitely check out his videos. And then obviously, a gentleman that we should all know. And if you don't know him, you probably knew his cohort from the breakdown. Toddy. I think as South Africans, his former associate Kieran, if I ever saw him, he's catching a body. Dude, it's on Kieran. And talk shit about this. Anyways, Toddy is part of this group. Really excited to see what he brings to it. Obviously, we already know it's a plethora. He's not as bad as Kieran. And next up, you guys should know this guy. Yep, this is Marcelo, the Italian supporter from England. I've had him on this channel with me. He's also in this group. Absolutely cool guy, and a bit of a professional when it comes to writing about sports, so it's always good to see what he has to say. And not even last, we got to bring up, yes, Leinster, the Irish kid that I have on. Very excited to have that guy on there. The banter between the Irish fan and the proud South African fan. Dude, you guys already know. It's bad. Like, we're hating on each other constantly. We're dunking on each other constantly. But as it gets closer to summer, it's going to get only worse. Or summer here, winter for you guys. And last but certainly not least, I want to go ahead and bring up the brainchild behind all of this. Brett on the left there, the redheaded gentleman. He lives in Joburg. He does play a bit of club rugby there, and the guy that's really the brain behind all of this is Casual, the guy right in the middle. This is his brainchild. This was, his whole idea, and I think it's a really good idea, and I think you guys will enjoy it if you go over there and check it out, subscribe. There's going to be something for everyone on there. And then you wonder, well, what are you going to be talking about on there? Because I'm going to be using this channel to cover Springboks, international rugby, that kind of thing. So what are you going to be talking about? What's the Fairweather Rugby Fan? Well, it's being listed under Fairweather, but I'm going as my actual legal name, Daryl Keith, on there. And for those of you who want to know what I will be covering, I'll be covering U.S. domestic rugby. Still won't say the name of the league on this channel. Still won't say anything about it. But if you followed me for my coverage of American professional rugby and you want to watch me cover that again, head on over to Casual Bias Rugby. It's completely separate from this. I'm not going into it with an emotional investment into the domestic league here, but I am covering it. So if you're interested in watching me talk about North American professional rugby, head on over there and subscribe to Casual Bias Rugby. I will be doing breakdowns every week, predictions, score lines, news, notes, etc., etc. Some interviews on there, collabs, obviously, with the other content creators talking about domestic rugby here, and also talking about Rugby World Cup 2031 coming up. So that's what I've been up to, guys. This will always be my main thing, especially when it comes international rugby time. I probably won't be as active on Casual Bias, definitely be more active on here. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on, guys. Like I said, I really do appreciate the continued support you guys have always given this channel. I mean, it started out as a guy doing videos in his car and in his living room, and now I have like a background and a camera set up and, you know, mic and all this kind of stuff, and I'm always adding to it. And I'll never forget when I had 10 followers. I'll never forget when I had 100. I'll never forget when I had 50. I'll never forget when I had 1,000. Never forget when I had 2,000. You guys are all cool. You always know you can reach out to me on all the other social networking that I'm on. I'm always down to chit chat about rugby. And if you have questions about living in the US, by all means, go ahead. I'm an open book. I welcome everyone, and we're going to keep this going. This is not going anywhere. We've got international test time coming up very soon, and I will be back on here. You know, I will be back on here, and I will even reach the back here. I mean, come on, man. Come on. I'll be putting the hat back on, got the jersey on. Hopefully, this is a little baggier on me in the next couple of months. I've been having some issues, so hopefully these will get baggy on me again. But yeah, I'm not going anywhere. If you want to see me cover domestic rugby here in the United States, head on over to Casual Bias. And like I said, check out everybody. I'm like, really, me and Casual are the really only two guys on here on that whole group that were YouTube guys. It's a lot of young kids, it's younger people, not kids. I mean, you know, some of them are in their late 20s, but you know what I mean? It's like a fresh breath of air. And I feel very, very special being a part of this group with these other content creators, because you always think about what's the future going to be. And, you know, guys like Leinster, he's in senior school still, you know, and he's so excited about what the future of rugby holds. Unfortunately, it's for Ireland. I had to go there. But you know what I mean? Like, the future, you always hope that, like, something we always talk about with the Springboks, do you leave the jersey in a better place? These guys are leaving rugby commentary in a better place, in my opinion. And I'm just happy I'm very proud to be a part of this group of individuals creating content and reaching out and kind of saying, you know, screw you to Rugby Pass. We're the real fans. We're the real people talking about this game. And we're the real lifeblood of what this sport is. But with that being said, guys, I hope everyone, wherever you're at in the world, you are safe. You've got food in your stomach, food in the house, a roof over your head. And if you've got a family, they're very safe. And you're making sure, if you're a man, woman, whatever, that you're taking care of what's yours. So until next time, guys, I will see you guys again very soon. Cheers and totsiens, as they say in Afrikaans.